Gina James, and I'm here with
Tad James. And I'm here with
Ewan Mockery, and I'm here with
Gina Mollicone Long.
So here is the end of our trainers training in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this year we have the privilege to certify actually two absolutely amazing trainers of NLP as master trainers of NLP.
They've been in the program for several years now, about 5 years each, and they've hit the highest standard ready relative to certification as a master trainer, which means they go out and train trainers.
So Gina,
Yes.
I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Tell us, first of all, I have a question. What led you into NLP?
I was telling the story this morning. I wrote a book about failure as feedback. And somebody said to me, oh, you wrote a book about NLP. And I said, I don't know what NLP is. And so that basically led to the conversation of, well, you need to get trained in NLP because you wrote a book about the premise failure as feedback. And I started searching, and I told you this story before, I searched best in the world. That's what I searched. And I ended up in this room.
Well, did you regret it?
No, God, no. That was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. She was kind of accusatory. Like I'd somehow tried to sneaky write a book and not give NLP credit. She was like, oh, come on, are you one of those people that pretends to invent NLP? And I was like, no, I don't know what it is. And so when I got here, and I sat in this room, actually, right over there, and when you started teaching, it was like, and then I walked to the back of the room and basically said, how far does this go? Little did I know what conversation that would start.
And how many years of work, yeah?
Yep.
And Ewan, how did you start?
well, since I've been quite young, I've always thought there's something else going on in the world than what most people think there is. I did the usual thing where you go to university, I did engineering, and then actually when I was doing the engineering I thought, I'm not sure I really fancy this. So I sat down and thought, so what do I really want to do in my life? And I'd only be about sort of 19 or 20. And I wouldn't have used this terminology then, but the way I look at it now is I sat down and tried to get in touch with my unconscious mind. And what came up to the surface was, well, be a teacher. And at 20, I'm thinking, what, be a teacher? What am I going to teach? Maths or something? So I sort of pushed that to one side and thought, forget about that. So I just became an accountant because lots of other people were doing that, and it's got maths in it and that sort of thing. So I did that for several years, and then thought, no, this is not quite right. So I thought, well, what can I do with my life? So I thought, well, maybe coaching. So go on the internet and type in coaching. Every time you type that in, NLP starts coming up. And then when you see it, you start seeing it everywhere. I started seeing it in car number plates, and I'm like, right, okay, I get the message. I'll do NLP. So I took the training, I got some change, I saw that other people got change, and then it just carried on from there. And then, surprise, surprise, I find that my unconscious mind was right all those years ago. I did actually want to be a teacher. It just took me a long time to figure out what it was I was going to teach.
You're going to teach, yeah. Well, it's kind of a teaching, this NLP career, isn't it, Ted? I mean, you've got 30 years in the business.
Yeah. Well, it's teaching and doing adult trainings. It's how do you actually inspire people who are done with school? Because either they're done with school by their own accord, and they say, the heck with university, and I'm not going there, or they're done with school because they've graduated. But in either case, most people who come to adult training think they're done with school. So it's how do you inspire them to go on and learn more?
And it's not, to me, it's not only about learning more. It's about a different type of learning. I'm not quite sure how to articulate it.
The way I articulate it is it's teaching people to think with all the wisdom and experience they've gained in life, so that maybe they keep thinking the way they were thinking, but maybe they don't. Maybe at that point what's not working for them is the gift, and that was what the first book was about. That's how I wrote it, right? It was about the gift in what's not working for you. Right? So The Secret of Successful Failing was never a book about how to fail. It was always a book about how to use it, how to spring off it. And so what I feel like when we teach is that we're teaching them how to reframe things that have already happened so they become empowering, versus being the weight that they drag with them through life as they try to survive it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Everybody, although they don't know it, everybody lives in abundance. And abundance isn't some airy-fairy thing. Abundance is just about being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And it's actually awakening people to that concept so that they can get in touch with it. And instead of living in an abundance of lack, they start
Exactly.
living in an abundance of what they want to live in
Agreed,
abundance.
absolutely.
So you guys have gone through a 5-year master trainer program.
And you're doing it in 2 different parts of the world, because you're in
Yeah, I'm in
England,
the UK. Yeah.
and you're in Canada. I mean, you're traveling all over the world, but your base is in Canada.
So it's flexible, but I want to hear about what was the value to you.
Huge. The value to me was huge. I like you, and have an engineering degree. I know that's obvious. So 2 engineers. There's something in it, though. I got to tell you that as an engineer, it's the first time I've sat in a training where the concepts were, you know, as to borrow Ewan's terms, a little bit out there, and felt like that there was a lot of foundation underneath it. And what I love about this training, I don't know other people's trainings, but I love about this training, was that the process is secure. The process, there's nothing, it's crystal clear. When I bought the Master Trainer program, they took the disc and ran a training 10 days later. Like
There's no ambiguity.
There's no ambiguity, and as an engineer, I appreciate that, because I think if you get the process right, then you can go a little nuts on the content or the decoration or the stuff that doesn't matter, as long as the process works. And I honestly think that's what makes our graduates, this whole, I call it a genealogy, this whole 4-in-1 teaching, different from everyone else in the world.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
but-
our process is lock solid. Look at the 2 of us, we're running around yelling people process.
Yeah, and that's one of the things which the master program gave me, was it gave me that structure. It said, if you do these things, in 5 years' time, you'll be in this position. And the things that you need to do are the things that you need to do as a trainer over that period. It requires you to actually be good at doing the training. It requires you to be able to run your own business. And it gives you that objective. It says, if you do these things, so it tells you what you need to hit, and if you hit those things, you will actually get there then. So it requires you to have that structure, have that focus, so it sets out the framework for you to then work within.
Right. So you're both very successful. You're running how many, 12, 14, 15 practitioners a year? And master practitioners, you're traveling all over the world, speaking, engagements.
She's going around the world on a speaking tour this year.
This you
A
have,
couple of books, we run some trainings, but the thing is it underlines everything we do. Even our corporate training business, which we had for 10 years before I even met you, it went underneath it all and made everything better. Like, it was the thing that was missing. What I say to people was, I had a house, it was made of bricks, it was pretty good, and then I came in and I got all the mortar, right, that filled in all the blanks of how the hell did I do that, and why was that successful, and why wasn't that successful. Trainer's training was probably the most eye-opening thing I've ever taken.
you obviously, both of you are 2 of our best graduates. And it's more than a joy or anything to have people like you know, be part of, as you said, our genealogy and taught in our school and all of that. But, so I'm saying that because obviously you're at the point where you most deserve the Master Trainer certificate. But because of the 5 years that you had to go through in developing your own business, in growing it, in putting everything, and actually working with people and teaching people and being active in this career and doing it full time, does it matter? Or do you know inside that you are there?
I think.
I mean, is the piece of paper that makes you, or is
No.
you already there? That's what I'm saying, I guess.
No, we went out for dinner with some people a few days ago, and you know, they were saying, you know, are you going to get certified master trainer this year and that sort of thing. And we're a bit, well, we hope so. You know, still got 1 or 2 tasks to do and that sort of thing. And one of the girls actually said to me, "I can see it in you already," is what she said. So
Exactly.
I've come back and assisted on trainers training 4 years on the trot. If I look back at that now, I can see how I've grown through that process. I can see that, and I've still learned stuff this year. I learned stuff every time I come back. I've got a couple of great models of excellence to be able to look at. When I look at how I've gone back and integrated what I've picked up each year back into my training, I've been honing my own training. Sometimes you get into bad habits, or you start and you think, well, actually, maybe I shouldn't do that. Or maybe I could do this a little bit better. Oh, I never thought of doing that. And then you start making your training better, so it hones you as a trainer. And although if we've got time, I've got a short story about the very first training that I did. The very first training that I did it for somebody else, and he was already had on his website that he was getting 9.4 out of 10 as his, his feedback and that sort of thing. So I thought, well, I've got to, competitive, I've got to do as well. So I ran the training, and then a few days after the training, he phones me up and says, "How do you get such good feedback?" And I said, "Well, I just did the stuff that that these guys do." And he said, "So I said, so what was the feedback I was getting?" He said, "You got 9.7." I said, "Oh, well, that's pretty good." I said, "Well, you're getting 9.4 anyway." And he said, "Oh, I just made that up."
I just made that up.
But what I've noticed is, even though I was getting such good feedback right from the start, that even the quality of the feedback that I'm getting is getting better and better and better.
Perfect.
So that's good.
Yeah, great. From our point of view, the only sorry we have is that you guys are not going to be around every year.
Well, I'm,
You're coming back.
development always continues. You've got to have something. You're never done. You're never done.
I said the trainers training was the most eye-opening course, and something inside my head said, "Hello, APEP," but we weren't talking about that. But it was like, yeah, not right. No, just it's a deep hole. That's what I tell my students at Prac. Right, I go, "You're looking over the edge right now. There's the door. If you decide you want to go down this hole, because once you get down it, it's deep."
But I think. Yeah, I have one more question. How does it feel to you when you are in a situation where you begin a new training, brand new practitioner, people who know nothing about NLP and they're just there, they're not sure what it is, they're not sure what it does for them, they're searching for something, obviously, because that's what they're coming, But how does it feel to take these people and in 7 days, or however you're doing your trainings, at the end of the training, you see them all of a sudden, the shoulders go back, it's a big smile on their face, and they're beginning again with new hope in life. They thought they were broken. They thought they have no choice. They thought they're prisoners of their negative emotions, their stuff that happened to them in the past and all of that. Is this rewarding to you? Because for us, it's amazing.
For us, it's what makes it.
It's the only thing that gets you out of bed, right? Because otherwise you have a bunch of people who are sitting there like, so to see them wake up and to
transform.
Just that's the reason why I do it.
Yeah, as you said earlier, I do a lot of training. I'm training a lot of the time, and it never feels like work. It's just fun. I just go out and I have fun, and I have to transform people in the process, but I'm just having fun doing it, but it's just not work. It's just, I say to people at the start of practitioner training, I say to them, I get quite excited at the beginning because I know what you guys are going to go through this week, and you don't know.
Yes. Well, anyway, we want to wish you all the best and lots of success, and keep in touch, and we're very proud of you. You're absolutely phenomenal people.
Well, you're the people that I model.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I said that to you one day. Ted said something about, I had a student at one of the trainings that was quite good or whatever, and he said something about her, and I said, well, I'm just modeling you guys, teaching her. So it's kind of like you taught her through me. And you didn't get it. And I was like, hello, I'm talking about you. The model of excellence is you. And I'm just modeling that and then teaching my students to model that. Right?
See, I think one of the things for you guys that I think is important, because you maybe don't always get feedback or don't think about it in this way, but the work that you've been doing over the last 30 years, and you've been working with TAD for several years now as well, what you're doing is, through people like us and then the people that we train, is like ripples going out through human consciousness. And you're creating, the two of you are creating much more change through the world than you probably realize. And we're at a point in the world now where we need that change.
We do.
And you're having a bigger impact than I think you realize you're actually having.
And I said this to you guys in one of my earlier trainings. I calculated if it was X% of the population we needed to wake up, that at this rate we were going to have to work for 300,000 years. Remember? I don't know if you remember that. It was in Australia. And so now that as you empower people to go out, and then as you trainers and then master trainers, what you do is amplify your effect in the world. It's leverage. And so, yes, we're making a difference, but we couldn't make it without you. So ultimately, you're making the difference.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you.
We honor that.
Thank you, Karen.
So you
Thank you very much. Anyway, good luck to you both, and